Back in December of 2012, there was a 23-year-old woman who was brutally gang raped on a bus in Delhi, and that sparked just an outcry in India. People were really concerned about the way authorities handle situations with rape. 13 days after the brutal attack, she did die. She was left to die in the side of the street. And it was a really difficult story to cover on the Young Turks. I remember how emotional we got when we talked about it. But a photographer in India thought that it might be a good idea to kind of bank on this situation and put out a series of photographs that he titled The Wrong Turn that oddly look very similar to what happened in Delhi in December of 2012.
Except glamorized.
Except glamorized. So they're the models. There's a girl on a bus, and she looks like she's being harassed by men. Let's look at more of them.
But this is not unclear. This is clear what's happening here. How in the world did he think this was okay?
So there are more pictures. He later took them down from his website, and he completely denies that it has anything to do with the situation in Delhi. And then later on, he's like, well, it has a little bit to do with the situation in Delhi. Let me give you his exact quotes. He did speak to the press. He says, "This is in no way meant to glamorize the act, which was very bad. It's just a way of throwing light on it." He also says, being a part of society and being a photographer, that topic moves me from inside. I stay in a society where my mother, my girlfriend, my sister are out there, and something like this can happen to them also. Now, he did release those statements, but prior to releasing those statements, he denied that it had anything to do with the incident in Delhi. And then you later confirmed that it did have something to do with the incident in Delhi, and you're totally glamorizing it. You're having models dressed in fancy attire, basically mimicking what happened on that terrible, terrible day. That's a freaking horrible, very distasteful thing to do.
So the 23-year-old student who was raped by 6 guys died 13 days later in the hospital from her injuries, okay?
Yep.
And at one point, they used an iron rod. And you have these beautiful models kind of recreate it, and you said throw a light on it, and you sexualize it. What part of this did you think would help? How does this help?
Why did the models agree to do this?
Because they're models.
I mean, unless they had no idea what the story was or how it all went down. I mean, that's a possibility. Maybe they were just ignorant about the story. But nonetheless, like, the fact that the photographer thought that this was a good idea is crazy. And every once in a while, we do these types of stories, and not only do I ask myself, what are people thinking? But again, it's like one of those stories that makes you lose faith in humanity, and that always sounds like it's such an extreme thing to say. But how do you make light of something as serious as a brutal gang rape where a 23-year-old woman died as a result? I just don't get it.
You can't, he made the situation look appealing. I mean, how can you not see that? If you wanted to actually shine a light on how terrible it was, maybe you would have shot it in a way where it looked terrible, where it looked like, oh my God, look at this, and look at the violence that was done on this woman, this poor woman. Instead, you have this super hot woman with really attractive guys who are also models, and they look like they're being playful on a bus, except they're kind of raping her. On which planet was that a good idea?